How are you doing?
Fine.
Good.
Far away.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your Volume 2 release.
Thanks.
So a very much a welcome return, and so far very much a firm favourite amongst I think the media fraternity here as well, which is great.
We recently found out. We've done some really great South African interviews. Very supportive.
I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had a concert here at the beginning of the year with a lot of real world artists. I think the focus.
The Womack.
That's right. Yeah, and that did.
Are you based in Johannesburg?
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I think
I heard it's a good atmosphere, but not very well attended.
I think because a lot of people, as much as the media know what Real World and what WOMAD are about, it's very much a learning curve, because there's certainly the market is big enough to sustain it. And obviously, I think with a lot of the influences coming from Africa, there's a bit of common ground there as well, which is great.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you and this great second album. I was actually listening to both albums during the week, and I just thought to myself, what is Simon? Well, what did you do to the point of creating, Afro Celt, to the point that was it a case that you woke up one morning and decided, I'm going to create this, and this is what we've been given, or was it something that sort of came together over a longer period of time?
It came together over a very long period of time. Yeah, the inception of the idea was back February '92. I was working in Dakar, the capital of Senegal, with Gabriel, and he sang this sort of great, it's like a great lament. It was quite spontaneous. It wasn't planned, and I heard it, the kind of ancient Celtic lament. It seemed to touch down. It seemed to touch me in a way that a lot of ancient British Celtic music did. It was a very powerful moment. I recorded it and came back to England and played it to David Spillane, who's a very famous Irish pipe and low whistle player.
Right.
He's from a travelling background. I think his parents or his grandparents were travellers, and he proceeded to tell me the story about how the Aboriginal Irish were probably black, how the Celts colonised them, how his music came from North Africa, migrated across Europe, and that Albemarle, being part of the Fulani tribe, could well have been connected with those people, because they were a migratory race. North across the Sahara, and this is all extraordinary. I mean, first of all, I realised that as a world music producer, I was an aspiring world music producer. There's a whole area of my own kind of indigenous culture that I knew nothing about. Probably been kind of, over the hundreds of thousands of years of kind of British colonialism, had been stamped out of our sort of history.
Yeah.
It also sort of struck me that, that world music is always kind of applicants tried to make the second album finally do that.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean,
but to answer your question briefly, it took a long time.
because
I mean, if you give me your email, I'll email you our timeline on our website. There's about 5 pages that we've done going back to 1990, right up to now, and it's an extremely long and involved story.
Yes, yeah.
It's not, and it doesn't help because I refuse to sum it up in little kinds of nice record company.
No, you can't do that because, but it almost sounds to me as if it's almost like it has been and probably still is and will be very much sort of a pilgrimage for you. If you have to look at it from a selfish point of view.
Yeah, pilgrimage. Yeah, I mean, I guess personally, it was a voyage of discovery. Yeah, I hate to use the word. I mean, every time I make a record, it's like a pilgrimage. Crusade. Every time you kind of make a world music record, you have expectations from the artist and the companies that are 100 times higher than the budget you're given. But I mean, personally, it was definitely a voyage of discovery. I mean, my first trip to Africa changed my life, and I know a lot of people had similar experience, including the engineer I went with, actually, the young lad from Brighton who I met up last week and he's still buzzing from the experience that he went through, 7 years ago. The first album was definitely a pilgrimage in as much as, I was very frightened about the prospect of making a mess of two very kind of revered traditions, the Irish and the African.
Yes.
I'm not Irish or African. Yeah. I knew I could do the African. I'd made 2 records with Basil Marl and a record with Man the Mango, so I felt very confident the world music producer. But the Irish side of it was a complete, was a bit of a mystery, although I do have roots in England.
Yes, yeah.
But the second album I think was a much more of a kind of collective vision.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean,
which we kind of
sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I say because you, in some respects, being a producer of the style of music, you do sort of tread, on sensitive ground in the sense that you need to be able to, if you're going to attempt this kind of music, to put it across, in a way that that you will respectfully showcase, West African or be it Irish music, because it is obviously a very emotional thing as well for, I think, the people who are from those territories.
I mean, from the moment that the Irish and African musicians got together down at Real World, got to the recording things, I knew we were going to make a great record. You could tell just from the vibe of the studio, let alone the music that was being made. But we've always said in the band, and I always said at the beginning, that we weren't trying to make a true carbon copy reproduction of authentic African and Irish music.
Yeah.
Having played 2,000 years ago, because maybe it wasn't. I mean, maybe Afro Celt was just a metaphor. I mean, nobody really knows. It's a very beautiful, poetic metaphor, but it may only just go back to the Celts themselves as a race. May be a product of a few romantic Victorian Scotsmen. Antiquarians, I believe. But we were never trying to kind of authentically kind of reproduce. I mean, we weren't making musical archaeology. Equally, we would say that although musicians in the band were deeply rooted in their own traditions, such as the traditions for the Chinook singing and the Africans, we weren't making traditional music. We were making new music for the future. So, the Puritans couldn't really turn around. I mean, they did try, but they couldn't turn around. So you're destroying the tradition. So we say, well, we're not making traditional music.
Yeah. Because
go on.
say because I think also, especially with what you're doing with Afro Celt, there's a certain interpretation as well, and it's a personal interpretation from your side in order, that it touches, outside of the traditional audience that it would hit.
Yeah, but I don't really know what the traditional audience is. When I went to Africa, my first experience arriving in Dakar with kids standing on the street corners listening to James Brown and hip hop, and
Yeah.
people listening. I mean, huge amounts of culture that was played. And it's one of the things that Manu Dibango said to me when I worked here. That there's this kind of this Western view that Africa is this naive place where people sit around playing these authentic, ancient instruments, completely cocooned from, the rest of the world. And,
Yeah.
I mean, they do that, but they're not cocoons. I mean, the world's getting a lot smaller. Dakar's very cosmopolitan. And the second time I went back, we met up with Positive Black Soul, who were a young, Senegalese black rap group who knew more about kind of the American underground dance than we did in London. And we kind of I mean, they were bringing along 12 inches that I'd never seen, never heard of.
Okay.
So, I mean, what you do have in West Africa is extreme poverty, but, that doesn't necessarily imply naivety. And I've been shocked. I mean, I've been shocked by musicologists I've spoken to who do have this extremely, I mean, almost evangelical view of, Africa being a naive, pure, unpolluted corner of the world where, and it's rubbish. And I mean, African musicians themselves, the farthest outside, at the moment playing a mixed balafon. I mean, we couldn't take his balafon for us because inside two large kitchen tables. So we sampled his balafon up and we put it in a little sampler and he's now playing a MIDI keyboard.
Okay.
And he's absolutely delighted. His first reaction, I wish my dad was alive, I'd like to show him.
That's
I mean, so I don't think we're destroying anyone's tradition. Equally, here they will go out and play purely traditional music and will that's the Bavamar. I think as long as you're rooted, as long as you respect where you come from, and as long as you don't pay lip service, but you actually put the energy back into your roots, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing, Bavamar or anyone else.
Sure.
And not only is there nothing wrong, it's inevitable.
True, because I mean that's just the way it's going. But now, so in tackling the second album on the back of touring extensively, and I mean it sounds like you're back on the road again now. How much of that live element did you want to include, in Volume 2?
The live element.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we unfortunately we couldn't afford to put the band together in the studio for 2 weeks. I would have loved to have done one day we will. So we still had to record using kind of hard disk recording technology, which means people come in and we layer the tracks up, and it's very interactive. And I like it as a record producer. It means that there's no tape, there's no red light syndrome. People can play and perform, lose themselves in the music, and then you edit the bits right. When the main percussion day was Johnny County, which is set up in UC, played Dole drum, from the Punjab, and Djembe James on Barron. We did about 24 rhythm tracks, Big Cat one of them actually, and that was very much live and interactive. We started with the rhythm
I can.
Yeah, no,
It's great.
yeah, it's great, but, you know, ask me again in a month.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the live side of it was incredibly important. I mean, the most important thing was really, after, you know, 70, 80 gigs, come together as a band, playing as a band. And I think that you can hear that on volume 2. I think you can hear the sound of the band playing. On volume 1, it's a little bit more naive, which I like, you know, I don't mind that, but you know, the rock press didn't really review it on volume 1.
No.
They said, oh, it's one of those kind of projects that Peter Gabriel things like, you know.
Yes.
That's big rubbish, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, they saw it as a kind of, you know, a kind of piece of exoticism, you know.
Yeah.
Now they're actually taking it a bit more seriously. Well, they have to because of our record sales.
Sure. I mean, from that perspective, are you pleasantly surprised how well it's been embraced?
I'm extremely surprised, yeah. I mean, I've got into making albums that received great reviews, so you know, I mean, that's kind of raw music. I don't know if you've heard of Marion Starr
Yes.
album called Journey.
Yes.
On Real World, which I thought was a superb album. Should have sold as well as the Afro Celt. You know, just they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it arrested. And, it's a shame, but yeah. I mean, I think that there were points in the middle of the tour we were playing up Skunk and Nancy at the Lowe's Festival. You know, to 20,000 North European rockheads, where I suddenly thought, this isn't world music. This is rock and roll.
Yeah.
And we played at Glastonbury as well, 2 years ago in France.
Yeah.
And struggled down to the side, and that was a really exceptional gig because we were on the same time as Radiohead, and everyone was saying, "Oh well, you know, you're not really going to get the crowd." Absolute people, 20,000 people, and they'd obviously come to see us, and the response was extraordinary. So I guess, you know, when we suddenly, there was a point where we realised the thing could be massive.
And I mean, I think it also goes to show that obviously this kind of music is now, I think people probably now more than ever before are starting to understand and interpret, you know, where all these links are coming from and embracing it, because I don't think it probably could have happened 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, but
it couldn't happen 10 years ago. No, definitely not. I mean, the scene started 10 years ago. You know, I started, you know, going to global beat clubs in 1990. There was a club called the Whirligig that was playing the Man of the Mango album on the Polysonic. And Trans Global Underground was just surfacing around then. Natasha Atlas was, you know, making her first studio recordings, but it's taken a long time to develop, and will continue to. I mean, it's interesting talking to South African journalists, because the Irish press like what we do, but someone made a point that, you know, the Afro Celts are very much an urban phenomenon and rely on multicultural urban environments, which I think is true, because that's always, you know, how I've been brought up in large multicultural working class communities.
yeah.
And where I live now, you know, Hackney, East London, was one of the first melting pots. And sure enough, over the last 10 years, you know, Asian culture has gone from being relatively marginalised, but not only mainstream, but cutting edge.
Yes.
So the Asian underground come out, and you know, and it's happening all over society, and you know, I see Afro Celt as just a product of that. Really, I see it as a very positive expression of multiculturalism, and I think the racists are panicking. You know, that's why they're letting us put nail bombs in Brixton, because, you know, first of all, we managed to drive them off the streets, and now we're driving them out of people's minds, which is the last frontier. So you know, I do, and I think, you know, what you've got in South Africa is really interesting, because you've got the start of urbanised multiculturalism, and
I've always looked at Real World as being almost an ambassador to nations and to different styles of music that otherwise wouldn't have a voice in a political sense, or even in a wouldn't be sort of significant for anything other than the music. But this is Real World has been a fantastic platform in order to showcase a lot of the talents that otherwise.
It's been a fantastic platform for world culture, but up until recently, not a very good platform for their own indigenous culture. And this is one of my main arguments. Well, it wasn't an argument piece, Gabriel, but it was like, why don't you do, your own indigenous culture? And what about, the indigenous culture of the East End of London, which is where I come from, which is kind of, got global beats and banger and they've been very, they picked up on that. I mean, they had to really, because there was Akita Nation Records, there are lots of other labels. I mean, to start off with, I thought Real World, I wasn't critical of them. I just, they came along at a time when world music was marketed, alongside kind of, designer coffee pots and, hand-woven duvet covers. And it was very much kind of ethnic, yuppie lifestyle appendage. And although I loved world music, I love global music, I didn't particularly like the image associated with it.
No, true, but I mean that's half your mission, I think. Over and above just edifying people.
Yeah, and I think that Real World has genuinely changed as well. I mean they. And I think if you talk to people at Real World, they would say, well, that wasn't us promoting that image, it was the press. But, I mean, it's going to be, when I said we're a good role model, I didn't want to sound patronising.
No.
I know there's a lot of very interesting, exciting stuff happening in South Africa. And I missed the concert last night.
Oh, right.
I really wanted to go to in London. There's a group of young South African musicians that are doing kind of beats and grooves.
Okay.
It's got a name actually, which I can't remember. A term that some journalists described. Does it begin with a K or something?
Could be one of many, because we've actually it's our new stomping ground. We're sending a lot of acts up and down to London at the moment. I can't think of hand.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
but I mean, and hopefully we'll be over later in the year.
Good. That's good to hear. I think you should come down as far south as you possibly can. But But Simon, thank you. I think I've taken up way too much of your time already. But before I go, I'm going to give you my email address if I can.